Oftentimes, you find out that you go out of your ways in order to make people feel happy, in order to make people feel okay. Even if it means you putting your needs aside, well, if you find yourself in such shoes, just know that it is not just you. Many of us find ourselves in this trap of people pleasing. And the thing is, it's not a bad thing being kind to people. It's not a bad thing helping people. But when you always have to do this at the expense of your own well-being, when you feel like you're mandated to do this, when you feel like you don't have a choice, you don't have a say over it can really be frustrating. And in order to stop this habit, in order to be free from this habit, you need to explore what it means to be a people pleaser, what causes people pleasing, signs of people pleasing, and of course, how to be free from this habit of people pleaser. People pleasing is you always feeling the task of making other people happy at the expense of your own well-being. That is, you always feel like you are indebted, you are mandated to make other people feel alright, to make other people feel okay, to make other people smile, but meanwhile, you are not really happy or cool with it down in you. Okay? So, one thing you need to know is that people pleasing isn't a trait. Isn't something we are born with, it's something we learn, it's a habit we learn, right? And oftentimes, these stuff start from home, where you are born into. If you are born in a home where it is a taboo to say no, you always need to say yes at every cost, at every time. Mind you that when we are kids, right, we do not have worries, we do not have goals, we do not have any self-interest. It's not going to be a big deal. But when you start growing, you start developing goals, interests, desires, as much as lifestyle. You find out that that lifestyle is going to become overwhelming. But in other way, you can't say no because your mind has been programmed in such a way that you always need to say yes to feel validated. Signs of you developing a people pleaser habit is number one, fear of rejection. This is a deep fear of being disliked. And oftentimes, this is from our childhood, when you grow in a family where there is no love, there is no affection, there is no acceptance. When you see people giving you this love, this affection, this acceptance, you feel like you have to, because you've not had that kind of a feeling before, right? You feel like you have to do everything you have to do in order to keep receiving this feeling, in order to keep receiving this acceptance and this validation. And often the times, this can always lead to you wanting to do everything, to always have these feelings, to be accepted, to feel among. So if you often find yourself in this situation where you always do everything, anything, to feel accepted, to feel belong, to feel happy, to feel validated, you might actually be developing a people pleaser habit. There comes low self-esteem. That is you seeing yourself here and other people over there. When you always see yourself here, know that your reasons will not make sense to you, your opinions will not make sense to you. I mean, your goals, everything about you wouldn't make sense to you. So you would always want to do anything and everything to measure up to the people that are over there. Because you feel like it's only when you are be up there, that is the only time your self-confidence is up there. Another one is difficulty in saying no. If you always find yourself saying yes all the time, you can't be saying yes all the time. You always saying yes all the time means one thing, you are not being honest, because there is no way you can always say yes all the time. So if you often see yourself in this position where you always say yes all the time, be careful, you might be developing a people pleaser's habit. And also, when you often neglect your self-care, when you don't care about yourself, when you care less about yourself, and you always want to put other people first, you always want to put the need of other people first, you always want to put the happiness of other people first. If you often find yourself doing this, check yourself well. You might actually be developing a people pleaser's attitude. So what are the causes of this habit of people pleaser? Number one is insecurity. Insecurity is a deep feeling of uncertainty when you are not sure about yourself, when you are not sure about your opinion, when you don't trust yourself. There is everything that says that you would want to derive confidence, you would want to derive trust, you would want to derive validation from external people. So when you don't trust yourself, when you don't agree with your own terms, you will be looking for it outside. And in the process of you looking for it outside, you would have to work for it, right? You see yourself doing everything, doing anything, just trying to be this perfect person in order to meet up, in order to feel belong, in order to feel acknowledged. Another thing is perfectionism. When we think that we can say no, that we can't disappoint people, we can't make them feel bad, we can't just say no to them. We have set a kind of criteria and we always need to stand on it. And even when this is at the detrimental of your own well-being, you don't really care because you feel like you always need to deliver, right? You always need to be there. You always need to be this perfect person. And this can make you working more in order to fit into this gap, in order to fit into this criteria that you've created for yourself, unrealistic criteria. There come low self-esteem. Like I said earlier, when you don't find validation in your own opinion, when you don't find confidence in your own self, when you always see yourself over here, like nothing about you actually makes sense to you. You would want to get this validation, you want to get this approval, you want to get this praise and this acceptance from the external people, and thereby wanting to do everything and having to do everything in order to meet up to this standard, to this need. Then comes fear of conflict. When you feel like, oh, I don't want them to get sad, I don't want them to get worried, I don't want it to be mad, I don't want her to be mad, I don't want him to be mad, I don't want him to be sad. And because of that, you put your own well-being at the back burner, trying to get yourself worked up, trying to live another person's life, right? Just to make other people feel happy. Making people feeling happy is not bad, but when there is no balance equation between your well-being and you being kind to people, that is when it's actually very offensive, right? When you always have to be this person that always need to make other people happy, but down in you, you don't feel any symptom of happiness, or the happiness that you feel in you is always mixed with sorrow, like happiness with a mix of sorrow. You are not going to last on it. Yes, you are not going to have that perfect happiness you actually desired from it. So in the course of all of this, right, how do we manage ourselves out? How do we guide ourselves out? How do we leave this habit of people pleasing? Number one is you setting a healthy boundary. You need to set a healthy boundary. This is you prioritizing yourself, knowing when to say yes, knowing when to say no, knowing what you can actually do and what you cannot do, knowing what works for you and what do not work for you. And when you have realized all those things, realize the things you want, these things you do not want, you stand by the rules, you stand by that time. Often the times there will be a shake, right? People want to push you, situation and circumstances will always want to push you out from this boundary that you've set for yourself. But you need to know that you have to be strong. You have to be determined. It is you we are talking about here. You need to be healthy in order to help others. If you think you are this person that always cares for people, you need to be fit first. You can't give out what you don't have. If you are not happy and you are giving out happiness, you are going to be drained. Yes, drained mentally, because you are forcing yourself to do or to give out what you don't really have. So you should know that a time will come, challenges will be there, circumstances will come to push you out from this boundary that you've set for yourself, but you need to be strong. And another thing is you prioritizing your needs, knowing what you want and giving yourself what you want first, then you can give to others. If you know that you're not feeling strong, give yourself the permission to sleep, to rest. Not you knowing that you're not feeling strong, and because you have to help a friend, you have to do one task or the other, you push yourself, like you just carry yourself, you willingly carry yourself out there, even when you know that you are not fit for this. Prioritizing your needs is you knowing your body's signal, understanding your body containers, and work accordingly. Okay? When you know that you need this, you want this isn't working fine, that isn't working fine, I'm not feeling good, you sort yourself out first. And another thing is learn to say no when necessary. That is you just learning to be honest. That is you trying to be honest. I know that it can really be awkward at the first time, but you have to tell yourself that you need to start being honest from henceforth. A lot of us are grown having this mindset that no is a negative thing to say. So because of that, we always want to be these perfect people, this perfect gentleman, this perfect lady, this very beautiful person. And because of that, we always want to say yes at all time, even at the expense of our own well-being. We think it's nice to always say yes, it's nice to always want to be there, it's nice to always want to make people feel alright. So learn when to say no, learn how to say no. If you are not feeling sure about a thing, just politely say no. If you are uncertain about a particular thing, feel free to say no. If you can meet up to a particular task, please feel free to say no. Or if you feel worried, starting with no, you can just ask for a moment to think about it. You can just ask the person to give you some time to think about this particular task or that particular thing, and you just take your time to politely say no. You just need to start small, and before you know it, you will grow this unapologetic personality. You will build this authenticity that would always drive and thrive to be you and not anybody else. There comes self-compassion. Self-compassion isn't self-weakness, isn't self-indulgence, isn't self-absorbed. Self-compassion is you treating yourself with kindness, with love, okay? When you make mistakes, when it feels like it's not working fine, when it feels like the whole thing is getting overwhelmed, you just tap yourself in your back and just be like, you can do this, we can do this, I got you, we will thrive. So you just need to be that good friend for yourself. You just need to be that caring friend to yourself. Every human being wants to be accepted. Every human being wants to be loved. Every human being wants to be valuable or approved. Oftentimes we don't get this from ourselves, we don't get it from family. We want to seek for it outside. And at the process of this, we find ourselves being committed to things that are not actually who we are in order to get these things. So why don't you start by loving yourself? Oh, it's gonna be awkward at the first time, but you just need to be consistent. You can write these words down, or write the affirmation down, or write the encouraging words down. When you feel like you need someone to talk to, or when you feel like you need someone to encourage you, just bring out that piece of note and you read it to yourself. The subconscious is always ready to absorb, it's always ready to learn. So you should be ready to feed it. And lastly, embrace discomfort. Just know that in this journey, you are going to feel weird, you are going to feel discomfort, you are going to feel strange, but that is part of the process. If you are incorporating the steps and you are not feeling weird, you are not feeling discomfort, check again, you are not doing the right things. You are not doing the right things. So when you start feeling this discomfort, feeling this weird, feeling this strangeness, okay, just be happy because you're actually doing the right thing. Embrace it, it's part of the journey. And by incorporating these steps with consistency and discipline, you will be so proud and you'll be so shocked to what your life will transform into. Okay, I know that this can be really overwhelming, and for some people that have lived with this lifestyle all through their life or all over their life, it can be really hard to, shift from what you used to be to another thing. But you need to see it as you starting something more healthier for yourself. It's more like a person changing a diet that you're used to into eating more of a healthier diet. It's gonna be tricky at first, but just give yourself this impression that you are moving from an unhealthy you to a healthy you. Just see it as you stepping out from something that is very bad for your health into something that is very good and enjoying for yourself. And little by little, you will see your life transforming. You will see your life changing. You will see your life moving from what you used to know it as to something more better and healthier of you. I know you got this. I know you can do this. You just need to be willing first. Just ask yourself, am I actually being a people pleaser? If yes, be willing to change. And then start incorporating these steps. Little by little, you will see yourself smile. Okay, so don't get overwhelmed, don't get worked out, don't get burnt out. Now just take it slowly, one step at a time, and of course you will do it. So thank you for staying tuned to the end of this video. Do where to like, do where to share, do where to subscribe, do where to leave a comment below. Share with us how your journey so far into stepping out from people pleasing to a better you, how it's going so far, and we would love to share with you. Thank you. See you.